Last night, if you're a Tennessee Volunteer fan, should be extremely, extremely validating. You say, yeah, JD, we're happy to win on the road, but like 25-15. We'll take a win in Norman, but like validating? Are you sure that's how we should feel? If you're just a college football fan, are you sure that's how you should feel if you're looking at Tennessee? I feel very confident in saying that. We'll talk about that right now, but make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Tennessee fans, y'all been good to us now. Had a lot of y'all get locked into the program over the course of the last few months. If you're just now finding the show, welcome. College Football Sickos by College Football Sickos. Also, make sure you're following me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Pickell. Want to hear from y'all on those platforms. So this wasn't the version of Tennessee that we had really talked about when we sat down at SEC Media Days, when you cracked open your preview magazine, because what we had talked about so much with that version of Tennessee was, hey, Nico going for 3 bills, the offense scores 50, and this, that, and the other. And so you scored 25 points. Quarterback threw for less than 200 yards. Quarterback had 2 tough fumbles, which he'll learn from. You ran the football 52 times to 21 passes. And you won the game decisively. You won the game in Tennessee, that final score, I believe, was very deceptive in terms of how the actual game played out. And the reason why that should be encouraging to Tennessee fans is because this is proof now in the pudding. This is another way that you can win the football game. And do not hear me incorrectly. Oklahoma, they have their own offensive issues. I mean, you saw them switching quarterbacks. They have a brand new offensive line they're breaking in. Like, I'm not telling you that Oklahoma's a world beater offensively. But to find a way in your new quarterback's first road start in a hostile environment, in an emotion-packed game for the opposing fan base, for your head coach as well, whether he would let you know it or not, I think that should be encouraging. Because what I just said a moment ago, this is proof now that you can win another style of football game. Last night, man, Tennessee was lights out defensively. You proved last night you can win with defense. 3 sacks, 11 tackles for a loss, held Oklahoma to 36 yards rushing, forced 3 turnovers. It was ultimately, to me, validation from a Tennessee fan. Okay, on the defensive side of the football, we have what we need to compete at the Tier 1 level in the SEC. And you know what I mean by that. It used to be, and we've said this many times, said it going into the game, said it coming out of the game many times, previously for Tennessee, it used to be we are trying to scheme for what we have offensively to try and circumnavigate what we don't have defensively. What we don't have in the trenches, we're going to try and put as many points on the board as possible to get you out of your rhythm so you have to chase us. Now, Tennessee, they put Oklahoma in chase mode last night, but again, it wasn't the chase mode we've seen in Tennessee put teams into before. It wasn't the 50-piece. It wasn't the 70-piece they hung against the past couple opponents. So having that ability now, if you're Tennessee, again, we say this a lot, in the new age of college football, in this 12-team playoff, in the new SEC, you have to be able to win multiple ways. And Josh Heupel now has built to a point where they are 12 deep on the defensive line. Like that is ultimately, to me, the price of admission to competing for the top tier in the SEC. I don't think you have to squint that hard to see Tennessee playing in Atlanta for the SEC title. Like last night was validation of that. Now, again, Oklahoma is not the measuring stick that you're basing your entire season off of, but if you just split Georgia and Alabama, just split them, and Alabama has to come to you in Knoxville. And at that point, you hope Nico has even gained more progress and is even further along. If that's the way we're looking at this thing, if we're Tennessee, they're going to be a wagon. They are absolutely going to be a wagon. Going back to what I said about the depth. It's great to have that depth in game, but again, in the new age of college football, where you have to probably play 16, 17 games to win the whole darn thing, which I promise you now, that is the standard now they're expecting at Tennessee. The standard is, let's go win conference titles, and as they progress now, it's going to be, let's win national titles. And you're saying, JD, Tennessee? Yes, Tennessee. Why? Because if you give a mouse a cookie, as the old children's book will tell us, they're going to want some milk. If you give us a generational talent at quarterback, and you give us what you need in the front 7, and we start to stockpile talent on this roster, we're going to expect more than just beating Alabama every couple of years and having a nice win to take off into the offseason with us where we win double-digit games and we get excited about the next year. Like, they're going to start to raise expectations. And again, based on what you have here, you should. Expectations should be correlated to roster. And I think at this point in time, Tennessee has a roster that is correlated to competing for an SEC title. So for Nico Iamaleava, I'm not overall that worried by his performance last night. I just think Tennessee I think Tennessee more specifically, was up against a really good Oklahoma defense. Like salty outfit, fly around with the football, bring back right around 80% production from last year's squad. They were playing with the crowd at their back, complex structures. Like, say what you want about the Tennessee offense and what they didn't do. That was a very good Oklahoma defense. And Nico had some mistakes again, but I think the big thing for me is he didn't have that big mistake that ultimately cost Tennessee momentum in this football game and cost them the game in general. Now, again, Tennessee's defense made some plays to kind of bail them out, but I'm just trying to say, if this is your jumping off point, if you're Nico on the road, be very excited about what the future is for him. Because we've seen it now multiple times. We've seen he can play lights out like you saw behind me right now. You've seen the ability for him to be able to push the ball deep and for the offense to score in the range of 50+. Like, they're going to have that now. So watch Tennessee going forward here. Watch how they progress. If the offense keeps trending up the way that I think they will trend up, Tennessee's going to be a wagon. I think they already are a wagon, but if you're a Tennessee fan, okay, box checked, further validation. The way in which they won the game should be validation. And the vibes should be, and I have to believe are, immaculate this morning in Knoxville, Tennessee. So Tennessee handles business. May not have been the version of Tennessee that we talked about in SEC Media Days, and it may not have been the version of Tennessee that you use when you play college football 25 and hang half 100 on your buddy, but like a gritty 10-point defensive-led victory on the road, SEC game, salty defense that you had to play against, salty defense you brought to the table. That's a big, big, big statement made by Tennessee. Make sure you're subscribed. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.